here I am. Yesterday, I was swinging a hammer, on a roof with my dad, and now I'm in Los Angeles with these three icons. It was mind blowing. I am an actor first, and when you got Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta and Paul Sorvino and Joe Pesci and Lorraine Bracco and this one, I mean, it's like going to Disneyland for me.
How did you get that part then
I was just
in The Sopranos?
random.
So did you meet any of the sort of main players in
Mhm.
Sopranos?
It was on iTunes and Amazon, and on iTunes, the day it came out, it was right next to Oppenheimer. It's a card from a deck of cards. It's a Kane card, and it's signed by Henry Hill, and it's in a clear case, and it's in the background of the Bastard Sons. So I called up Tom Sizemore, who I met a year prior. We had mutual friends. Brian O'Halloran, who was in that movie Clerks. He's a great dude. And then I called Ray Boom Boom Mancini. I knew him for about, gosh, 10 years at that point. That was war, man. It was war. Um, it was a hell of a ride.
Was there any chance of you going down that organised crime route? Were you tempted? What were your parents' view on it, etc., etc.?
There was people I knew growing up that could have opened a door or two for me. That sound, camera, and action. Go.
I've heard you say that only Italians get your name right. So I'm gonna see if this silly Brit from the other side of the pond can nail it. Ready?
All yours.
Kevin Interdonado. Ah,
My man.
first hurdle jumped.
Yeah. We're off to a great start. We're off to a great start.
I'm so I've
Uh,
been practicing that all day.
yeah.
I've been doing my acting lines with my missus, like how to say it, how to pronounce it.
Nice. Nice, man.
Welcome
Funny.
to the show, Kevin. Thanks a lot for coming on. Really good to see you.
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure. Nice to talk to you.
Cheers, thank you. Shall we kick straight off with your like family background? So where you're
Yeah.
from and like your parents, your grandparents, where they're from?
Yeah, yeah. I am from the great state of New Jersey, born and raised. I left New Jersey when I was 30 years old to go to Los Angeles to pursue my acting career and started making films out there. And then eventually came back. The film industry is here. I come from a blue collar family. My father was still is a contractor. My mother a preschool teacher. And yeah, played a lot of sports growing up. It was a bit of a wild kid, and I didn't really know my place in life. I couldn't find it. And I ended up going to the military when I was 18. So when I came out of the military, I had a boot camp. I went to college, tried different stuff, and I ended up taking an acting class outside of college. It was it. It clicked, man, and I just went full force with it.
Right, let's mega unpick that. So your family background. If you ask someone from the UK, what's your family background? No one will ever say to you, I'm Anglo-Irish or I'm Swedish, Swedo-Welsh. But in the States, it seems everyone seems to have whether you're Italian American,
Yeah, yeah.
where are you in this area?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny. I'm always quick to say I'm American and Italian. I'm very proud of my, country and where I'm from. And but yeah, you know it on the head. Everyone is goes back to their roots, and most of America is really fourth and fifth generation. It just kind of carries over now. But I'm fourth generation. Oddly enough, my bloodlines run pretty true to what we call the old country and Italian here, and that's Sicily. And my mother's grandparents, my father's grandparents, both sets, everyone's from Sicily. And it's funny. You ever do that? It's called 23andMe or the Ancestry to find out.
Ancestry, we've got
Yeah.
ancestry here, yeah.
Well, that was the best Christmas present I ever had. So I got this little tube. You spin in it, you shake it up, you send it out. 6 weeks later, you get an email. This email is long and it's telling you who you are, where you're from. I knew I was Italian. I didn't know that my roots were that true, but I remember it saying if you were 74% from a certain region, that means that you were born, raised, and lived your life there. for whatever reason, I had like 94%. It was Sicily. So I guess it was only kind of ironic that I ended up making a gangster movie, so to speak. But yeah, man, I have pure bloodlines to Sicily, but I am full American Italian.
So your grandparents came over on the boat, did they, to kind of
Yeah.
escape the poverty, lack of work that was happening
Mhm.
in Italy, Sicily at the time?
Yeah, and it's funny, my family were so proud to be American that they stopped speaking Italian. That's how it was back then. It was odd, especially when World War II was happening and all that stuff. There was people from all other countries, mostly Italians at the time, that came over to America, and within a couple of years, they were off fighting the war. It was crazy to see that amount of pride that people had in this country here. You don't. It's such a divided place right now. It's really unfortunate what's going on, but
It's really interesting to think that you had so much, like a kind of wind rush, as we would call it in this country, where you have so many people from abroad coming in, and then in the not too distant future, the country that you've adopted as your new home is then at war with your home country.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
isn't that wild? I don't know if I could.
it's
I don't know if I could do that. It was just a different reasoning, different mentality back then. America meant something different to a lot of people in those years.
because the Italian American, the Italians that came over on the boats, they weren't treated particularly well, were they? Certainly to begin with.
No, the Italians, the Irish, all ethnicities, man, when they came over for a long time, calling my family wops, dagos, and stuff like that. If you said those words around my grandfather when he was alive, oh, forget it. Forget it. And they were also called a lot other names that are really nasty terms for African Americans because Sicilians were very dark skinned, and a lot of people use that the N word to my family. They used to tell me stories when I was a kid. Um, but yeah, they were treated like shit, man. It's unfortunate. And then people kind of woke up and realized that's what made America in the first place. So we're here now. You know what I mean?
The melting pot.
Yeah.
A melting pot of America. So
Yes.
did your grandparents move to? Did they settle in New York, or did they come straight to New Jersey?
Jersey. A lot of people went to Jersey. A lot. And then from there, they kind of scattered around too. It's interesting meeting Italians from California. When I was out there, I met a couple of Californians and, Italian, like full-blooded Italians out there, and very, very different, man. They don't talk. People associate Italians with an East Coast accent, what I have a little bit of, I could fall into pretty easily. But out there, when you see someone's Italian and they talk very, very general, very uh, American. It's a little throwing, you know. I say, "You're Italian?" Yes. Like, all right, dude. You sound weird.
There's certain parts of the West Coast that's further away from the East Coast than the UK, isn't there? You know, that
Okay.
there's like some people say that the East Coast of the states is more culturally like the um the United Kingdom than it is the West Coast.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I tell you, it's odd. We just saw before, and I did a movie in the Brighton Beach area, and I stayed in London for a good month, several years ago, and I felt really comfortable there. I felt really comfortable. It didn't feel like I had to adapt, other than the difference in how we speak. But yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I just kind of fit right in. It could be my blue collar background too, the people I was around. I just kind of fit in. But I think the working class can get along with the working class anywhere, really.
yeah, they say that the working class have more in common with working class in other countries than they do with the middle and upper classes of their own country, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true, man.
So you're growing up. Tom Lavecchia said, "Go on then, Rob. Jump straight into the stereotype." Um, did you have many organized crime guys around your area?
Well, they were. But it's not showboated like it used to be. You know what I mean? The people that are involved now in that stuff, in my world anyway, they it's funny. They either don't want to be recognized or known at all. You'll never know the difference. Or they're on YouTube talking about how they just got out. It's kind of weird, you know what I mean? Um, but there was always a presence. You kind of always knew if somebody was somewhere and you're out somewhere and you're like, hey, don't mess with that guy over there, and then you go like this or go like this, like, oh, all right, I get it. You just
Really?
kind
So
of
they did like facial signs to.
yeah, as little signs. I knew that growing up as a kid. My grandfather came over and said, Kev, see that guy over there? And I said, yeah, Pop, which one? The guy in the red shirt. Yeah, yeah. You go.
Oh, means he's a made man.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, Bob. And then he knew all of them, he associated with everyone. Because they all grew up together, they're all friends. Just, I don't know, I think there are a lot of smart guys, man, the ones I met. They're really, take the criminal aspect out of things. I know of people that do criminal behavior and they're not considered gangsters. And there's complete assholes and scum of the earth, but they're not gangsters, they're not mobsters. And here's these fellas that embody that life and take that oath, and they're smart, educated businessmen, and they have good families, and they take care of their own. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how when I started bouncing around the idea for the Bastard Sons, this movie I made, I don't discriminate because I'm an actor of anybody I play. I don't discriminate as a writer either. I can't. And I just kind of look for the good in people. I know the downside. I know that side, but I'll never judge. Especially if I'm playing someone or embodying a character, even as a writer or a director now. So that I don't know, it was kind of on my mind for a minute, and then yeah, I just started putting pen to paper, and before you know it, the story, the idea of the story was born.
Was there any chance of you going down that organized crime route? Were you tempted? What were your parents' view on it, etc., etc.?
There was there was people I knew growing up that could have opened a door or two for me. I did not want to go that route, and I had enough of a bond with my old man, who was just a pure, honest, hardworking dude. So to take that route in life would have been such a sign of disrespect to him, and I never would have done that. Even though it did attract me, I wouldn't have done it.
Hmm. Why did it attract you? What was it about the
I
life
don't
that
think I'm any
attracted you?
different than anyone else that gets attracted to it. At that age, when I was younger, there was an allure. I saw these guys at the clubs, I saw them at the bars, I saw them at the restaurants. They had their own table, they had the nice cars, they had the flashy clothes. They were always sharp looking. They had respect, even when they didn't try or do anything outwardly to earn it. You know what I mean? Um, and they were controlled. There was just something about it. It was a nice, clean, organized, for a lack of better words, mob. Meaning mob of people. You know what I mean? You think of the word gang and mob and this and that, and for the most part nowadays, you're thinking gangs in inner cities and stuff like that, and just gangs of people anywhere, and that's not a lure, that's not an attraction to me. It's messy. It's just pure violent. It's people just trying to get out whatever kind of hate they got. These individuals, they came up in a life, or they just didn't really see the wrong in it. You know, but it's interesting when there's gangsters and they are God-fearing men, and they are faithful men. How they delineate between the two and justify what they do. But things happen. Like I said, I don't judge.
Yeah, so they commit crimes 6 days of the
Yeah,
week, go to church on Sunday,
yeah.
pay their penance, and then go and commit crimes for the next 6 days of the week, and
They're
the cycle continues. It is fascinating, isn't it? Really.
So, what were you like at school then, Kevin? Were you a smart guy? Did you apply yourself? Were you more interested in sports or messing about?
I just wanted to have a good time. I'm not gonna lie. I academically, you know, I was a BC student, nothing crazy. I played a lot of sports growing up, but I never had that fulfillment. I was always I remember always being frustrated as a kid. I was always frustrated. I was always seeking some kind of fulfillment. Later in the years, that came and, I was getting in a lot of fights and stuff, causing a lot of trouble, whatnot, and it was just not the right way to go about it. Going to the military was definitely a step in the right direction for me. My brother was a drill sergeant. He's a year older than me. And when that came about, at that time, that was definitely a smart choice for me. So boot camp straightened me out a little bit. And I came back and, like I said, I went to college. But before I went to college, I started boxing again. I was boxing in high school too. But even that, man, I just wanted to fight all the time, So that was me just getting my jollies out. So it was extremely frustrating for a period of since I was, I think, a freshman in high school. I couldn't find that thing. Whatever it was, I couldn't find that thing. I was searching. I was nose deep in self-help books and Barnes and Noble, all this stuff. I just couldn't figure it out. I didn't know what was wrong. And I'm telling you, Rob, the first acting class I took, I I don't know why, but something just clicked. Something just clicked enough to the point where I literally left college the next day, and that was it.
So were you acting before you went into the
No.
military? Right. So you finished
Mhm.
school and you signed up for the military. Is that
Yeah.
right? Was it just that you were kind of lost
Yeah.
and you thought, well, I'm just gonna kind of military will make a man of me type of thing, and I'll give me some headspace away from New Jersey, and I can kind of see where it leads
Yeah.
me. Is that where your head
That's
was at?
exactly it. It was weird leaving home, close, tight with my dad, my mom too, my brother, but I knew I needed it. They knew I needed it, and it was. I'm not gonna say it was a family choice. I joined on my own, but it was definitely a step in the right direction for my life, and yeah, and I don't regret it because for later years I stayed in. I had to go overseas to Baghdad, but it was definitely one of the decisions that I'm most fond of that I made in my life.
So Baghdad. So this must be the Iraq War.
Yeah, I was there in 2004.
Wow. A few years after 9/11.
Hmm.
So how did that come about? So how long were you in the military before you went to kind of
I was in
overseas
the
to fight
reserves over
overseas?
here, so it's because I was scared to commit. I joined the military, went to boot camp, and then I decided there that I did not want to go to active duty. I just I didn't know if I was gonna love it, like it, hate it. So to just commit 3, 4 years, I didn't want to do that. So I came back when I was a reservist in the Army National Guard, is what it's called out here. And I
Okay.
was in the National Guard for 7 years, and it was great, man. It was great. I drove tanks. Not a lot of people could say that, We jumped over shit and blew shit up, and it was cool. It was really cool, and I enjoyed being a soldier. When the war came, I had a gut feeling we were going to get activated, and sure enough, I was the second wave that went over, and that's a whole other can of worms, as you can imagine. But oddly enough, I was acting before I went to Baghdad. I started acting in the year I'd say I think 2000, and things were going pretty good. Things were going pretty good. I had some TV shows under my belt and some movies, and when I got activated to go to war, I had a couple of things lined up and had to pull the plug, and that was that.
So could you have refused to go overseas and just continued on your acting?
I wasn't the kind of guy to refuse that at the time. I had no wife, I had no kids, and I was just with a bunch of brave dudes, from New Jersey that gave their all, and I wasn't going to be the one to raise the flag and say, "Hey, what about me?" I didn't think my life was that important. So I was good with going. I was good with it.
So what was it like over there? Dare I ask?
That was that was war, man. It was war. Um, it was a hell of a ride. Not what we expected we were getting into. We didn't go prepared for war. We had a different mission that we were preparing for to go over there. And I was field artillery in New Jersey. So all the tanks and big trucks we were dealing with. I was a mechanic there. And they took all these people from the field artillery units and converted us to military police and sent us over because there was a shortage of Iraqi police because the American forces fired about 75% of them. So they tried to train us as military police. The original mission was to train and mentor the Iraqi police. To train up to be a military police officer in the military in the United States, it's at least a 5 to 6 month school. I think we prepped for 5 weeks. So by the time we got there, there was weapons we didn't know how to fire. There was tactics and moves we weren't familiar with. We went from single digit degree weather in January here right to Kuwait and then right into Baghdad. It was like literally 0 to 100, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And that was that. The first month it was slow, and then shit hit the fan, and yeah, we were in it, man. We were in it. So we lost a couple of guys, unfortunately. Everybody got hit in some way, shape, or form. A lot of scars are not on the outside, but you just learn to live with it and deal with it, and move on. Or try to, There's a couple guys I was there with that are not here anymore since being home. Well, more than I'd like to mention, and it's been 20 years, man. And just last month, one of my battle buddies, he left this place, So it's crazy the effects it has. But I like to think that I'm at a somewhat of a manageable place with it, and I keep it in that box, and yeah, that's it.
How long were you there?
Long enough, bro.
1 day.
Yeah.
It's long enough.
My
isn't it?
tour was 9 months. Yeah.
Wow. Were you relieved to come home?
No, I didn't want to come home. At the time when I was there in that, it's odd because in a weird way, it fulfilled me. Remember, I was talking about like what I was searching for a long time in my life, and I didn't know. No one knows. No one knows combat until you're in combat. But oddly enough, something clicked for me while I was there, and I was surprisingly good at it. So when I was there, after a couple months, you go through mental changes and phases. I was good. I was good with it, and I didn't want to come home. And coming home was kind of a mind, you know, fuck, so to speak. Excuse my language. But being home and being around people that were friends and family long enough, it just took the time I needed to take that edge off and just kind of put me on path again. But it took me about a year to get going again.
Did you miss the camaraderie between you and your
Yeah,
buddies? Was that one of the big
yeah,
things?
good question, man. Yeah, yeah, big time. I mean, these are guys that you just met 5 weeks ago, and now you're like trying to save each other's life. You bond quick when you're under those extreme dire circumstances. Yeah, yeah, I missed them a lot. Still do. So every now and then a few of the guys get together and crack a beer and stuff, and they still associate.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's nice. You can probably talk about things that you can't talk to anybody else about,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah. And sometimes, man, sometimes I don't want to get together with them because it starts going back to that. And for me in my life now, married and I have a 4-year-old daughter, and there's no place for that in my life. I don't, to go back to that. It's more than with them. If we got any deeper than we are right now, it'll take me there, you know, and it's just not a good place to
Yeah,
be
cool.
mentally. So I just kind of keep it at bay and take it. That's it.
I'm particularly interested in the stateside with this. I've watched documentaries on Nam, Korea, and how the military were received, the military men and women were received
Yeah,
when they returned home to society. How did society treat you when you returned?
very good. Very, very,
Very
very,
good.
very high respect. Very high respect. Yeah, it was, sometimes even, dare I say, too much, you know, coming from that. Um, I much rather would have walked into a place or seen someone I haven't seen in a while and, been at a bar or something like that and just, not talked about anything. You know what I mean? Rather than people kind of digging in at that time in my life. You know what I mean? Like it's where it's still fresh, Um, I just kind of, because you come home and you just kind of want to get back to what you were. But that version of Kevin and whoever else is just gone. It's just absolutely gone. So you're fighting with yourself because you want to go back to that and you are this guy and it's like you got to find someone in the middle to find a happy place with. It took time. Took a lot of time.
It's interesting. It sounds like you had to rebuild a sense of
Yeah.
identity, rebuild your
Mhm.
character, I guess rebuild your future. Um, so talking about your future, so you kind of, I get you say maybe had a year or so out. Was that right? Just to try to get your head together when you came
Yeah,
back.
that's pretty much what it was. I jumped right back into my acting career when I came back. Immediately because it was the only like I felt like I wanted to get back into where I left off. That lasted about 2 months. That lasted about 2 months. Uh, I just didn't feel right. I didn't know myself anymore. It was just a odd existence. So if I don't know my only truth and I don't know myself, how the hell am I going to be an actor? So that's when I kind of took a step back. I'm like, wow, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I gotta rebuild a little bit and start from scratch, And that's kind of what I did. I threw all my clothes out. I threw all my underwear out, my socks, sneaker, anything I had. I threw everything out in one of those big clothing dumpsters. I'll never forget the day. And I literally, I think I had a couple pairs of underwear where it was on my body. That was it. I didn't think about anything else. And then I went to a store and just bought all new shit because nothing fit right. Nothing felt right anymore. It's just different. I was changed physically, mentally, psychologically. Forget it. So it was a really wild time. It was a really wild time. And I think like that's what you're saying, and when you mentioned getting together with the guys and talking, yeah, because that's to understand. That's really the only fellas that truly understand, truly get it.
It's therapeutic in some
Yeah.
ways, I guess. So when I know several guys that have come back from combat and they've either gone into the police, um, gone into security guard,
Mhm.
one works at a bakery in the town. I've never come across one that's become an actor. I mean, I guess you dabbled in it before you went away, but that's some transition to, I guess, do bit part acting, then go into the military, and then come out of the military a different person, and then go full fledged
Yeah.
acting. Do you think?
Yeah. There's
How
not
was that?
many.
How
I
did that
never really
happen?
thought about that. There's not many. There's a couple out here, but a lot of my battle buddies are cops and COs and security. A lot. I don't know if any work in a bakery, but
Yeah.
yeah, then they're the same deal. And they're prepped for it. They're geared for it. When you see that level of violence and combat, you're just beyond prepared, you know.
Yeah, of course. So do you think you were a different, like a different actor, as in a stage actor,
Mm.
when you came back from the military than you were before?
No, no. I'm well, I guess yeah, I'm looking at it deeper, yes, because I was a different person. You know what I mean? Different experiences, different things, and someone said to me once, like I think I was back in the workshop when I came back from the war and I was getting back into it. And like, oh, you could use your experiences and this and that. So if I use my experiences, I'll choke you out and kill you right here in the scene. I said, I can't use my experiences. You're out of your mind. It just changed me as a person. And finding out who I was again, you know, that was definitely reflective of my behavior as an actor. So yeah, you're right. You're right. You did nail that. Yeah.
Is there any similarities between the military and acting?
there's a discipline there. It depends. There's there's a lot of lazy actors, man. I don't consider myself a lazy actor, but there is definitely a discipline that comes with being an actor. A definite discipline. And you can tell. You can tell. You can tell the actors that are prepared, that know their lines, they're ready, their physical presence has changed. You know who's prepping and who's not. You know who's just kind of walking on set and they do their thing. A lot of actors you see in movies, you know the actors by name, and they are that character in every single thing they do. There's a laziness there. They get hired for who they are and they kind of bring who they are to it um rather than molding themselves to the character that's written, you know? So yeah, there's a discipline there that was applied, sure. But there's not much of a creative thing going on there in anything military, it's just very meat and potatoes, cut and dry, black and white. So that aspect of the military, I was relieved about once I removed myself from it. Once I was in it, I
Okay.
was I was a different person then.
Wow. I watched a documentary some time ago about a budding actor who moved to Hollywood, and it was like a fly on the wall documentary. And it was following them around to all these rehearsals after rehearsals after rehearsals, and it was like exhausting. You have to have some willpower to keep doing that
Yeah.
because the vast majority of them didn't. The person didn't get the role.
Yeah.
Is that your experience? How was your experience of
Yeah.
finding your first gig?
Yeah, it's everyone's experience. Some people have a harder time with it, but it's a hard time for every single actor. I don't know a single actor that had an easy road. Not a
Mm.
single actor, not one. And I know some pretty well-known famous people, and um no one's had an easy road. I think after a while it's just time in the game, you know? And they always talk about actors get rejected all the time. You know what's worse than rejection, man? Which is
Go
way
on.
more common than rejection. It's indifference, because you can audition till you're blue in the face, and you put time into those auditions. You stop life, you stop everything, you stop this, you stop that. You have to get a babysitter, and you got to study, 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 focus, focus, cram all through the night, get ready, throw the coffee on, blah blah blah, and then bang out an audition. And when you're done, it's like this big drop off. It's like all these little mini fights. That part I kind of like sometimes. What I don't like about the profession is that once you do that and you send that video to that casting director, you'll never hear a word. If you don't get it, if you don't get the job, you don't know. If you don't get the job and you had a stellar audition, stellar, after a while, it's not like who's better than who. Once you make it to the top two, three choices, it's just like who looks the part better. There's certain decisions that dictate. It's really just apples and oranges at that point. But even when it's at that point, you'll never know why. You'll never get a call or an email say, "Hey, great job, that was cool, thanks," or "Can't wait for you to audition again," or just like "Good job." It's just nothing. So I'd rather have someone reject me and say, "No, you did not get the role," because I'd be like, "Hey, dude, thanks for calling me. I appreciate it." But it's just nothing. So a lot of times when you're an actor, you feel alone because you just do these auditions, and I don't get a lot. My wife's an actress. She gets way more than I do, but she's a very pretty woman. I got a face like a catcher's mitt, so I'm not the one to go get called up for shit. But when I do audition, I guess I have a fairly decent booking ratio. But it's
I was going to ask you, what would you say addition to acceptance ratio? It's probably a hard question to
no,
ask,
it's
but
uh,
just
it's a good question. For me, it usually takes, yeah, it usually takes about between 8 and 10. Um,
that's good.
it's good, but it takes me a while to get 8 or 10 auditions. Whereas other actors get
Um,
8 or 10 auditions in a month or 2 months. It might take me about half a year. So I've never got a lot of auditions. I just never have. That's kind of one of the reasons why I started making my own movies a few years back. I'm like, I'm waiting around. Here's the funny part. So from actor, it's actor to agent or manager, And then from agent or manager, it's to the casting director. From the casting director, it's the producers, right? If I get an audition and I send it in and it goes one higher to my manager takes it and goes to the casting director. If that casting director is not fond of my audition, it never even gets there. So it's not just like your acting career, it's my life. And my life, my income, my well-being is determined by someone that I will never meet. I have no idea who they are. I don't know their name. I don't know anything about them. And they're dictating, looking at pictures, going, no, 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 yeah, Kevin, no. And just that no dictates my life. So after a while, I got my 30s and I was like, nothing for nothing, man. I was like, fuck this. Like I'll keep auditioning and everything. I'm going to be an actor. I'm not going to let the business jade me because that happens a lot and actors fall through. I said, but I just feel like I have more to offer. And, coming from a family construction business, I knew business from my old man. I like to think I did. And then I put my feet in and started writing and learned how to produce and then eventually direct. So that's how I kind of offset my career now too. So when the auditions come, good, they come. I do my thing, and I really don't even think about it after I send it out because somebody might not like the way I look. They think my nose is too big. They think this. They think that, and I'm like, think what you want, man. I don't care. I'm an actor. That's my job, and take it. Some people take it. Some people don't. But I found making my own films throughout that process, I never feel out of work. And it's the craziest feeling as an actor because we all know guys and gals, we all know what it feels like to be out of work, man. It's the worst freaking feeling in the world, right? Like that anxiety when you lose your job or you don't have a job and you're looking for a job. An actor is consistently unemployed. So that feeling is ever present every single day. Once I was in the business for about 15 years, I made a mental note and I said, I'm tired of feeling like this. I have more to offer. I don't like feeling like I'm out of work. Why is my life being controlled by some dude I'll never even meet? So I'm just gonna do it myself. That was it. I started doing it myself, and it turned out. And my career was going pretty good at the time. I just had, more to give. I'd say that the movies I made, knock on wood, man, they were doing better than the movies I was getting cast in. So I was like, okay, I think I found a little niche here, and then that's that. So it's nice. People reach out and offer me roles now, which is wonderful. Um, I'm so grateful for that. I make my own when auditions come. I bang out an audition, but I'm trying to get to the UK, man. I'm trying to do another movie on the other side of the pond by you guys. There's a filmmaker I did a movie with a few years ago. I was talking about. He's got a couple that he wants to make out there. So hopefully this next year that gets financed and I can shoot back over.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Well, let me know if you need an extra.
I will, man. I will.
I'll strap my stuff in the
There you
background.
go.
Just one more question before we go on to your to kind of discuss a few of your roles. Yeah. Is the business more about who you know than what you know?
Hands down. There's some actors that I know, Rob, that I'm in awe when I watch them. I've worked with them on scenes, worked with them in workshops, done plays, stage. Sometimes they're so goddamn talented, man. I felt like I couldn't even keep up. But there's other factors that keep them where they are, and you'll never hear about them. They're just not go-getters. They don't associate people in the business too much. They're not known. They're not creating their own work in the right way, so their own work can boost them. It's sad, man. It used to be years ago, and this is why I love the community by you guys, because when I did that film, when I associated with actors out there, it was about the work. It was all about the work. It was all about the talent. It was about the commitment to the craft and really being an actor. Over here, nah, that's unfortunate. Over here, it's about the fucking Kardashians and who's got the reality show and who's got the star power and who has, Instagram followers, and it's a real crock of shit. Now that's Hollywood though. So I don't know the perception of the movie industry out in the UK, but Hollywood is not what it used to be. The theatrical thing, movie theaters not doing well anymore. They're closing up. When when those two movies that I did, the three movies came out this year, um, they were very, very low budget. And I did this one movie called The Bastard Sons when it got released. And the week it was released, it was on iTunes and Amazon. And on iTunes, the day it came out, it was right next to Oppenheimer. Now, for that to happen, there was a lot of buzz about The Bastard Sons when it came out. Everybody was watching it. Oppenheimer, I'm just going to throw a number out there. I don't know, 50 million? I don't know the budget. I can only imagine. But Bastard Sons was $70,000. So you got a $70,000 movie next to multi-million dollar movie. And when that happened, that made me feel really good. I'm like, wow, you can actually be an independent artist and succeed. If you play your cards right and do the numbers right, work your percentages when you sell it and everything. But it was a real feather in my cap. I'm not one to pat myself on the back ever, but it just felt really good knowing that there's existence there and there's life there, and you don't have to make it in Hollywood to exist and be a successful artist.
Actually, it's one of my questions to ask you a bit later on was the impact of Hollywood
Yeah,
on today compared to yesteryear, where it kind was certainly, from my knowledge, it was kind of the be all and end all to be a recognized actor. You had to crack Hollywood.
yeah, yeah. That's
You know,
gone. That's gone, man. I mean, especially perfect example is what I just told you. Hollywood used to have like an aura about it. There was like this essence about it. There was this star power, stardom, all associated with it. When I moved to LA, that was about 15 years ago. 15 years ago, it was going away. I lived in Hollywood, so I was literally living in what I thought was like this, this amazing, wonderful place, and it ain't, man. It's like it was pretty dirty and nasty, and there's a bunch of crazy people running around. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but um, I was just shocked, and it made me realize like something's changing. There's a shift in the business, and just around that time was when this company called Redbox came out. I don't know if you guys had Redbox. Did you have it out there?
it doesn't ring a bell.
Redbox was basically a big square red kiosk, and yeah, it was almost like a self-serve movie machine. You put your money in, and you pick all the movies you want on the screen, and boom, it comes through the slot on the bottom, and you got your DVD. They were everywhere. So when Redbox came out, the movie theaters started going down, down, down because people were just like, I'll just get a DVD for $3, $4 instead of going to the movies. And then the streaming platform started, and then all hell broke loose. So it lost its luster. And as that was happening, movies were being able to be made cheaper. Not everything was on film anymore. It started being digital. So all these movies were getting made cheap, super cheap. And then there were so many movies being made, so many movies that the big distributors that put them out to the movie theaters, they didn't have enough room to take them. So these independent distribution companies opened up, and they had the same access to Amazon and this one and that one, and selling overseas in different countries. So studio stuff were selling studio movies, independent distribution companies were selling independent movies. It's the goal of an independent filmmaker, like the end all be all goal, to make an independent film, and a studio picks it up and it goes there. So few and far between, man. But it doesn't have to happen these days anymore. You could still make a good movie, make it the right way. You get with a top-notch distributor. And like I said, I was right next to Oppenheimer, man. It did wonders for me, just that alone. So, yeah, it's possible.
Would you say it's sort of Kevin of 2020, well, maybe in the 21st century, would prefer to go into acting in the 21st century or in the like 1960s?
Oh, the 60s, man.
How come?
Hands down. Because it was the business was different. Hollywood embraced talent back in the day, and they made you a star. And some people were star driven. When I say star, I'm not driven by fame at all. I never was. I mean, um, known. You know, they put you in movies, they put you in shows. Hollywood saw talent. Hollywood agents, Hollywood casting directors. They were artists in themselves. They were like talent scouts for football and baseball. That's how they were. They were seeking it. They used to go to plays. They used to go to workshops. They used to go to acting classes and sneak in because they heard word that this girl was amazing or this guy was something else. They'd seek it. Damn! There's such an influx of actors these days. It's impossible. So now it's half talent, half looks, and then who has the bigger Instagram?
Right. Okay.
You know?
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you, have you been following Italy in the Euros?
No, I'm working nonstop right now because I'm doing my movie just got greenlit, so I've been working around the clock. I haven't even had time. But it's popular here, man. Very popular. Oh
Is
yeah.
it? Well, they played terrible and got knocked out by
Oh
Switzerland.
no, dude.
So yeah, so you didn't miss much, but then England were fortunate to get through to the quarterfinals because they've been playing terribly as well.
Oh,
So
man, there you go.
I was hoping for a rerun of the last Euros, which was Italy versus England, but yeah, that's not going to happen.
I think just
When I was going to ask you that actually when you said about your parents were Italian and you were obviously Italian blood, and then I forgot, and then when you mentioned about sports, I thought I'll fire it in now.
no, it's huge here, man. People stop whatever they're doing to watch those games. They love it. They love it. Yeah, soccer's surprisingly pretty big here, but I think it's bigger where you are because football is really the god in the U.S. American football and baseball.
You have several things like ice hockey,
Yeah,
American football, baseball, don't you? Really, you're kind of like a lot of. There's probably others that I've missed, but whereas the UK, we kind of football's our like national game, I guess, isn't it? So you know, it's soccer even I should say is our like national game. But the Copa America's on, so I think the States are in that or were in that
cool.
at the moment. I don't want to bore you.
But boxing is big by you guys too, or so? Because
I love it.
I'm a big boxing fan, man. Big boxing fan.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about someone that you starred alongside in a bit, who's got an absolutely fascinating backstory.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we do that, Sopranos. You were in the Sopranos before you went to war. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. How did you get that part then in the Sopranos?
Random audition, man. That was very early in my career. I think I was acting for 2 years by then, which means I was going to class. So after about a year and a half after going to classes in the studio is when I started auditioning. And I was so inexperienced and green in that. And then I got this agent and he was a real low life piece of shit. I didn't like him.
Really?
Yeah, it's just the element of the business. It doesn't, not everybody's a favorable person. And I couldn't stand this guy. And he never sent me out on anything. And then one day out of nowhere, man, he said, "Hey, I got an audition for you. It's for The Sopranos." And oddly enough, I live in New Jersey. Sopranos took place in New Jersey. It's like, it's like the Bible of New Jersey. And I never saw it. So, but that was the fourth season. I never even saw it. So I was filming a movie at the time of the audition. They let me go audition, which was great. I had to go to New York City. It was about a 2-hour drive. I walked in. I had one line. It took 10 seconds, and then I left. And I had to go all the way home again. And then they called me the next day and said they want you to do come in again and do a callback. I was like, for what? For one line? I mean, I could just, you want me to say it on the phone? They're like, no, you got to do it in person. I was like, what the hell, man? And I go all the way back to New York, say my one line, and come home. Now, the first audition, there was like, God, there were at least 200 dudes there. There were so many Italians. The second audition, there's about 20 or 30. The third audition, the third time, there was 6. And that's when I was like, oh shit, this is kind of weird, you know? But I was a brassing kid. I didn't really give a shit about too much. So I went in, did my one line.
What was it,
Uh,
if you can remember?
So I had to chase this guy. I shot more than there was on the show. They cut a lot out. They cut a couple episodes out, but it was a quick part. I had to chase some guy down the street and pick him up. And I had some words for him. And then this bigger, fatter character came over, pushed me out of the way, smacks the guy, and then he runs off. The guy's name was Vasily. He was this Russian gangster or something. So after the big fat guy that worked for Tony's crew pushed him away, we were both out of breath. And he called him Vasily instead of Vasily. So I said, "What'd you call him, Vaseline?" And that was it. Like that was the line, man. I don't know. I don't know why they cast me for it. I don't know, but they just did. I guess I made him laugh in the audition room the way I said it, and that was it. Like that's the kind of thing, man. Being an actor, like you just don't know. You just really don't. You don't know anything. Your entire life, it just kind of floats. And the only thing that gave me solidarity was actually making my own films. It just kind of it settled me a little bit, you know. So fortunately, like I
Yeah.
said, I get a couple offers here and there, and I'll still audition, and I make my own projects. But I am much more settled now, and yeah, that's
Just going back to The
yeah.
Sopranos, just for a minute. Was it financially? Was it because it sounded like for kind of a small? I don't mean to be derogatory, but for a kind of small part, it seemed a bloody lot of work you had to do for a kind of small part. Was it one worth it financially, and two, did it help you reputationally to get more
Yeah,
work?
isn't that crazy? You get a better reputation as an actor getting a small part in a big show or a big movie than a big part in something that doesn't peak. So I could have lead
Wow.
roles until I'm blue in the face, and not many people would know who I was. But if I was, if I had one scene in a Quentin Tarantino movie, people would go, "Oh, I know him." You know, it's a different career path. I know it's funny you mention that, man. I know a couple actors that are in big movies for a long time, and they're absolutely wonderful, and they get 2 or 3 scenes a piece in these big films. You might even you probably recognize them if you saw them. Some are like main supporting, not leads, but they hop around. They're the most unfulfilled, jaded people I know, and they make out well financially, and they're in big movies and they're in big TV shows. If I wouldn't trade paths with them because the movies I've gotten so far, there's several bigger ones lined up, which is great, knock on wood. But I've been fortunate enough to have um, roles in movies, and this might sound weird, man, but where I'm able to tell the story. I'm able to truly live it out from beginning to end, and really entertain my interest as an actor and an artist, and just go for it. I've had so many wonderful memories in my life at on set, going through things as an actor, and I don't take back a second of it. And I love my life and my career because of that. I don't have the money these guys got, and I don't have the notoriety they have, but I'm fulfilled and they're not. So it's an interesting balance, man. What you'd rather have and what you wouldn't. You know?
So was it worth it financially? I don't want to pry too much into how much money you got, but I just mean
Oh
like,
yeah. So,
was it worth it financially to do like a couple of lines or a scene or two in The Sopranos?
yeah. I
Was
still get
was it
to this
really?
day. It's been 23 years. Yeah.
Holy shit! And you're still getting like royalties
Yeah.
from it.
Yeah, man. And I actually filmed 3 episodes. They cut one episode completely out. They cut all my lines out of one episode, and then the one episode I'm in actually had a bigger part, and they cut it down to like one scene. But I got paid for 3 episodes, and it's one of the best-selling shows of all time. So you figure I haven't done a lot of TV in my career compared to like my wife, who's done a bunch of TV. But the shows that I was on were like the most popular shows. So they keep replay. They sell in the UK, sells in Germany, sells in Australia, sells over there. So every time it sells, you get percentages of the original pay. You know what I mean? So let's just say
Wow.
I made $1,000 on a Sopranos here, and then it aired. And the next time it aired as a replay, I'd get 500. The next time 450. The next time 400. The next time 350. So on and so forth. If it got picked up in Germany, 500. If it replayed in Germany, 450. If it got picked up over there, 500. So everything is like it starts the first residual starts at 50% of what you made, and then it goes 45%, 40%, 30% every time it plays. So it's been 20 something years later, man. And I just happened to be on that, Law and Order, CSI New York, How to Get Away with Murder. Like there's these big shows that just play constantly. So thank God,
That's
man. You
brilliant.
got some hard times as an actor. Sometimes those residuals come in and you're like, oh, you know.
Yeah, I bet that's fascinating. That is really fascinating. Sopranos is big over here, and I remember watching it when it first came out, and I couldn't get into it. I actually went to because I think it's about time because it's often in this genre and it's often talked about. So I thought I need to give this another crack. It's probably 20 years ago when I first came to the screens. And for me to buy a box set in the UK, it's like it's 20. So it'd been just over $30 for a box set. But it makes me feel better if I buy that box set. That some of it might be coming to you.
like a half of a penny somewhere in there, yeah. But yeah, even that, the box set, the DVDs, everything matters. How does that show translate in the UK?
Oh, it's really popular.
Really?
Yeah, it's well popular. It was shown on mainstream. I'm pretty sure it was shown on mainstream telly. If they're charging in the UK for the box set now, it's clearly like there's a demand for it. I think it was on Netflix for quite some time. So yeah, it's a big show. I mean, I've heard when it first came over. Obviously, I heard about it because I watched it. I watched a couple of scenes.
Wow.
But yeah, it's a really big show over
That's
here.
interesting.
Sopranos.
Over here, people responded to it very differently. The Italian culture, forget it. I mean, that movie, probably every single person in New Jersey watched it. So that's just one section. Something doesn't have to blow up in every single city in the United States. If there's a couple areas that are just all for it, helps a lot. Like Bruce Springsteen, you heard of him, and Kevin Smith, the director that did that movie Clerks. I mean, these are like die-hard New Jersey people where I'm from. So that inner tight audience helps significantly. The Sopranos, some Italian Americans were like this with it. They thought it gave us put us in a bad light, gave us a bad name. But what was funny about the show, and I wonder how it was depicted over by you guys, was that it was funny. I mean, there's serious stuff, but the humor in it was like outstanding, and that's what a lot of people gravitated to. I don't know if you saw the humor in it too, because there is, British humor where some people in the United States don't click, they don't connect to it, but others do. So I wonder how the humor in The Sopranos translated to you guys.
Well, put it this way, Friends is absolutely massive in the UK. So yeah, so people can't get enough of it. So obviously the humor element of it is.
Wow.
I mean, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not keen on Friends, but I know loads of people that rave over
That's
it. So how I think it depends. You've probably got maybe more of the old fuddy-duddy people that don't get the American humor because it's quite slapstick.
Yeah.
But I think you get a lot of I guess Friends was more of a younger crowd anyway. Well, when it first came out, now it's probably like a middle-aged crowd.
Yeah.
But But I think it depends, doesn't it? Some people like Sopranos, some people don't. Law and Order's big in the UK.
Really?
So some people, don't. I didn't. You mentioned another one.
CSI.
What's the other
There's
one?
like 4.
Yeah, that's massive as well. Yeah, CSI.
So that's
Yeah, all those
I got really lucky. The shows I got on were, worldwide. You know what I mean?
And that's before you went into the military.
I got Sopranos. Well, that's the thing. I was supposed to be on the 5th season of Sopranos. I got called back, and I was supposed to be Christopher Moltisanti's right-hand man. they bumped me up in the cast and everything, and guess who gets called to war? So I lost it.
You've served your country over getting a mansion.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right, man. It is what it is. I didn't, everyone's got their path,
Of course, of course. So did you meet any of the sort of main players in Sopranos? So James, obviously soprano himself, Godolphini?
Yeah, what a sweet guy. He's from New Jersey originally
Really?
too. Yeah, briefly him, and then the guy that played Paulie Walnuts, the guy that played Big Pussy, Federico played Furio, Edie Falco I knew through a friend already. Yeah, there was some people in the show that I kind of knew and met before. And here's what's the trip, man. So I did Sopranos, and like I said, it was brief, man. It was so small. It's odd how that still gets brought up today. It not to knock anything, but it was one line. You know what I mean? Like creatively, it was not a satisfying thing. But I was on the show last summer. Someone I knew hit me up, and he said, "Kev, I'm doing a music video with this kid, and I want you to. I'm sorry, a short film, and I want you to star in it with him." And I said, "Yeah, sure, man. What's it about? This and that, above." And I said, "Well, who's the kid?" And he said, "It's Michael Gandolfini." I said, "You're kidding?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Wow, that's a trip." So I went to set and I met Michael. I met Jimmy's son, and I was like, looking at him, I was like, "Wow, man!" Like he had this singing walk and everything, and it was just kind of a cool feeling, knowing working with his dad essentially, and then his son. It was cool.
Can you? I appreciate you said it was brief. Can you give us a story on Soprano, Tony Soprano?
Like a story from like being on set, you mean? Something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was new. I was a green actor, and I was at that time in my life I was broke, man. I was broke. So when I got the part, I was like, oh shit, I could use this money. And I was still broke when I got to set. You don't get paid until you're done filming. So I was hungry, Rob. And when you get to a set, especially on a show like Sopranos, you can imagine the food spread there. So I had this blue parachute material jumpsuit, the tops and bottoms, we all know it, and the chains and the watch and everything. And I was in wardrobe, I was getting ready to shoot. They were delayed. So I was by what we call the crafty table, and the crafty's got all the food. There was a guy cutting roast beef, there was a guy making pasta, there's this, I mean, you name it. And I was pigging, like pigging out like you wouldn't believe, man. And then I was waiting for my scene to come and nothing was happening. So like, well, shit, I'm gonna take some of this food home. So I'm reaching into this one right there, putting it in my pocket, this pocket. Before you know it, my pockets were like totally packed out. Now, parachute material, okay? So it's really thin. So I had my pockets in my jacket and my pockets in my pants stacked with food. All kinds of like crackers and this and that, you name it, it was all there. So before you know it, I'm stealing food. And one of the first ADs come over, the assistant director, he said, "All right, Kev, we're up, we gotta go." And it was a running scene outside. So the whole street was blocked off, and there was all people that lived in the area that were around. So it was all like those caution tape, the yellow tape. So there's all the whole neighborhood. Everyone knew the Sopranos was shooting. There was people from other towns coming over. It was like a mob. And he said, "We're gonna shoot. We gotta go. Let's go." And I said, "Oh." Well, let me go to my trailer real quick, and I got stuff." He said, "No, we gotta go shoot." I said, "Well, let me just go to the trailer." And he said, "No, we gotta go now, like now, because we're losing light." I said, "Okay." So I kind of went over there, and we rehearsed the scene earlier in the day. So I knew what I was going to be doing, and I'm like, so I got ready. I had to run down the street and tap for this guy. "Kevin, you ready?" "Yes." "You ready?" "This, that, sound, camera, and action." Boom. I start running, right? Rob, I'm running. And if you could picture this, my jackets were going like this. There's all the food, bundles of food in my jacket and my pants. So I'm running like crazy down the street, and I feel it hitting me in the chest and hitting me in the... All of a sudden the director was like, cut. He goes, cut. And I was like, oh shit, I know it's me. I know it. And he runs over, he goes, what's it? I said, "What's in your pockets?" And you're not supposed to have stuff in your pockets. You're just not supposed to. I said, oh, I just stuff. I said stuff. I was gonna go to my. He said, well, empty your pockets. I hurry up. Let's go. Let's go do another take. I said, all right. Let me go back to my trailer. He said, Kevin, you can't go to your trailer. We're rolling. Empty your pockets. I said, oh, okay. So I knelt down, and dude, I started taking stuff out of my pockets, and the pile just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It was Oreos, Nutter Butters, crackers, cheese, and this and that. It's just like this. So not only was everyone hysterical, but the whole crowd that was around was laughing their asses off at me. I was just beat red as your shirt, man. I was so embarrassed, and it was a good time, but it was a fun set. So everyone involved in The Sopranos, even behind the scenes, were like fun, good people. We're in New Jersey. We're in my neck of the woods. And there's some people I know from The Sopranos that I shot with still laugh about it to this day. They said, dude, you pulled out literally like you could have fed a small village with this shit pulling out of your pockets. I was like, I was broke and hungry, man. Yeah, I have no qualms about that. So that's an old story I always think about.
Yeah, that is quality. They have to get like a runner to come on and like with a few buckets and take the stuff off and put it behind the set, sort
I
of
tell
thing.
you, yeah, that was.
Did they let you keep it?
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. Yeah. Yeah.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Right, I watched a couple of your films. I couldn't watch the what was it called? The Bastard
Yeah, it's
Sons.
not out there
Yeah,
yet.
because
Yeah.
no, it's behind a paywall, but it's only on Amazon.com, not co.uk. So, is it going to come out in the UK at some point? Do
It
you know?
should, as soon as my sales rep sells it. You know, when you sell a film, I have no control, and I'm at the mercy of the person selling it and his contacts and relationships over there. So I'm pushing in the UK. There's people out in the UK that I'm very fond of, man. I get a lot of feedback and messages from people in the UK to see my work, and I really appreciate it. So I kind of wanted to get out there.
I have a feeling a move's coming on.
A what?
A move across the pond for
I
you.
wouldn't mind it, man. It did, if there was something that shot there, if I got a show or something that was there for, 4 to 6 months, yeah. Yeah, I would do it. It's a weird life,
Do you
man.
think if
It's a weird fucking life. I tell you, I got
it's
like, I grew up blue collar, just grew up normal, most people do. And now I have a 4-year-old girl. My wife's an actor, and my wife just auditioned for something in Vancouver, and she got it's called pinned, meaning it's between her and another actress. She can get the call tomorrow, and within a week, we're gone. And I'm taking my kid with me. It's just such an odd existence we have. It's cool, you know, but we're like nomads.
so would your wife come over here with you if you had got a 6 month?
Yeah, she liked it over there too, because she came out with me for that movie.
I've got a 4-year-old girl as
Do
well,
you?
and she's starting school in September. So I'm assuming that your little girl will be starting sort of mainstream school
Yeah.
in September or around that time. Well, what would you do for schooling then? Guess you'd either have to private school or she'd have to hop into school, in and out of
Yeah,
schools wherever you
this is
go.
this is the kind of stuff you just got to figure out. You don't think about it. I would imagine people think actors are like, oh, you're an actor and this and that. It's like, yeah, but we're constantly like this. So you try to be grounded with that, and it's something, when my daughter came, it was a lot simpler before that, and she came and it's like, holy shit, because you put your kid in front of everything, right? So now every decision is based on them first and then us, and something as simple as going to the UK. If it was 5 years ago, I would have been like, all right, pack my bags and I'm out. Done. Now it's like, how's she gonna go to school? Do we have snacks? Do I? I should, for the ones I took from The Sopranos, I should still have some left. But it's like, all these weird things come into existence with our lifestyle. It's a pain in the ass sometimes. It really is. Sometimes I miss solidarity. I miss watching football on Sundays with my boys. You know what I mean? And just having like a routine of things. But don't get me wrong, no complaints. I'm not that guy. And I love to the point of borderline healthy obsession with what I do. So I just take it in stride, and we just figure things out. Just figure it out.
Would you encourage your little girl to go into acting, or even, I suppose there's scenes for her when she's 4, I guess.
No, I wouldn't. No, I would. I wouldn't. I wouldn't encourage it. I would say, yeah, that'd be cool. You want to go act in something, or you want to go try out for something, but let's focus on, sports and business and this and that. And this would be because what I've noticed, man, is you really you gotta be a goddamn dynamo to make it. I'm a I have a fighting spirit by nature, and if I didn't fight for everything that I have, I would not have it. Some things fall in your lap. Something like The Sopranos. Like, I don't even know how I got the role. I just said one line 3 times, and that was it. Other stuff, man, you got to claw for it. Oh, and the rejection, the indifference, the things that are involved in it. Who knows you? Who do you know? Women, they're judged on their looks way more than men, and I don't want to expose her to that. So yeah, if she wants to play around and be in movies that I make or friends of mine and jump in, but I do feel like the business as a whole, especially the Hollywood side of things, you can't break down those doors. I don't give a fuck who you are. You can't break them down. Those doors have to open for you. So for actors that want to make it in Hollywood, the best you can do is make yourself available. Hope that you look a certain way. Hope you know the right people. Be consistent, and then they may open or they may not. And I gave up on that notion a while ago. And sometimes that door has cracked for me, which is nice. And when it does, I'm ready. But I have control over my life and my career now. And when they open, so be it. But for my daughter, nah, there's too much that goes with it. She's gonna be these things we think about what we want for our kids, right? I'm no different than you in that department, man. So I want her to be smart, cultured, educated, street smart, understand money, understand investing, which who the fuck knows about that until I wasn't raised like that.
I was going to say all the stuff they don't teach at school.
Pretty much, man. But I got her shoveling now. Yeah, digging holes with me just to know what hard work is and building bird houses and stuff, and just things that I think is important for her. Getting through struggle. Not saying I can't, things like that. But it's a weird business. If she was exposed to that, I wouldn't like it. What about you? Because I know other parents that put their kids in movies with stars in their eyes, and they don't understand what it could do to a child being rejected over and over and over again.
I think many weird thoughts and sort of think about like things that are never going to happen.
Yeah.
But I've never ever thought about I've got 2. I've got 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. I never thought about either of them going into acting until you've asked. You kind of put me on the spot. Like, oh. Well, the thing is you're educating me. This is a totally different world than I've ever been used to. I've never really come across anyone in acting. There was one of my friends studied performing arts at university and went on to become a Met policewoman.
Oh wow!
Right in central London, so because what she learned in acting school, she took into the training, and it's like help, and like get it or whatever they do in the police kind of academy. I don't think we call it a police academy over here, but whatever it is. So I've not really come across anybody that's to prompt me to think like that. What would I do if she wanted to? Well, she wouldn't have a clue, but I guess your 4-year-old kind of understands a little bit about what you do.
We have no choice.
Whereas my
but
exactly
we audition in our house, so we set up the tripod, and auditions nowadays is just your cell phone or a camera on the tripod. You film it, and then you just email it. That's it. A small movie or a studio film. So yeah, sometimes we'll audition with her in the room. She'll sit on the couch, and if there's no bad words, sometimes there's bad words, but we're like, mommy and daddy are just acting right now. Like, we have to say these lines, and she gets it, but yeah, it's just, it's odd. It's odd. It's cool and it's odd at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. Yeah, I probably, if you push me for an answer, it would probably be I wanted to concentrate on schooling, but if she has a burning desire, which she showed no burning desire to be an actress at the moment. But if she did, then I'd probably support her, you
Yeah.
know. But it's interesting your take on it. I didn't really. It was kind of as toxic for women as what you've
Yeah, man.
kind of suggested it is.
Yeah, there is such a demand. I mean, you see a lot of women, more in Hollywood, obviously, that are in the public eye. The plastic surgery, and they're so thin. And I had a buddy on set with a very well-known famous actress the other day, and he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, man, just wrapped." I was like, "Oh, cool. How'd it go? How'd it go working with so and so?" And he said, "Dude, she's like anorexic looking." I was like, "You're kidding?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah. Like, a camera puts 15 pounds on you, makes you thicker. So some
Really.
actors get caught up in, yeah, they look at everything, man. You know what I mean? So it's a little unfortunate with the way women are perceived and handled. It really is. The pay thing, that's a whole other conversation. Did you ever hear stuff about that, about actresses in Hollywood wanting the same pay as men?
Yes,
What's your take on
equal
that?
pay. Well, on the surface, I think I totally agree. I think equal pay for an equal day's work, I would think, but I don't know. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts.
So, as a in actors, most actors, like 99% of actors, agree, and most people agree too. But they don't know how the business goes. And the reason why actresses don't get paid for the most part, what men do, because there are actresses that do. I mean, the Julia Roberts, Jennifer Lawrence, those, and Jennifer Aniston, like they do, is because the actor is essentially the stock. It's the investment in a movie. You always hear about actors make so much money, and hell yeah, when you get to a certain level, they do, but they get that much money because they are the face that makes the movie this much money. So they have to. So there's balances. Every actor has essentially, a known actor has a dollar sign on them. And the reason why male actors as a whole get more than female actors is because male actors, there's way more of them, and they are way more bankable. And that's just how it goes. If you put if you put Brad Pitt in a movie and another female star in a movie, more likely than not, the audience is going to see that percentage wise because Brad Pitt is in it. Therefore, and Brad Pitt and his whole team and his camp know that. So that is why they make what they make. It's essentially it's essentially about dollars and cents. It's not about talent. Be nice if it was, but it's not. It's show business, and show business has been in business for a very long time, following that business model, and that's how it is. So for me, for example, these past 3 years now, because of some films came out, I've been fortunate to play leads in films, and the ones that I've made, that there's now a tangible value to my name, right? So if someone wanted to cast me in a movie in the UK, yes, there's a value. They would sell it for more money and get a better deal in the US because I'm in it. So if 4 years ago I was able to make, let's just say, $10,000, now I'd be able to make 20. Or if I was making 50, now I could make 100. It's only based on what I can bring monetarily to the movie once it's sold. And that's the checks and balances of the business.
So it's the same as sports, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the male boxers get more than the female boxers. The male soccer players get more than the female soccer players.
And
Yeah,
basketball,
yeah,
definitely
interesting.
male basketball. I got so much respect for all athletes, professional athletes. I'm fortunate to know a couple, and how diligent and hard they are in their careers. And women's basketball is, man, it's awesome, man. And there's a lot of, naysayers and complainers about they're not making enough money, but they don't have enough people watching them. So they can't get it, you know?
What does your wife think about that?
She knows she knows that side of the business because I'm in it. The producing side of things. So she gets it.
So she just accepts it.
Yeah, I mean it's the nature of the beast. It's really just the knowledge of, once you know it, some people accept it and some people get mad at it. Usually the people that get mad at it are not, they don't have a business sense, or they're not really rooted in what actually makes the industry that we're in go, you know? And then you get paid based on the budget of the movie too, man. It's not like people have a rate. That's been gone for a long time because independent films, independent film, you can have a budget of $100 for a movie or $100 million, depending on the budget of the movie and what they can put aside for you. That dictates. So you can make big money on a studio movie with a small part. You could play a lead in an independent film and make half of that money. It just depends.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Bad Frank, 2017. I watched that one. It's on YouTube. Should I put a link to the description box? Do you get any money from people watching it on YouTube
Frank,
or not?
no, I don't. Thanks for asking, man. That's nice to hear. No, the Malicious and well, actually, Bad Frank, I'm proud of it. That movie came out pretty good. So by all means, Malicious and Bad Frank. Yeah, Malicious in the UK. Yeah.
It is, but that's on Prime,
Gotcha.
and Bad Frank's on YouTube.
Gotcha.
I think it's on Prime as well, actually.
Maybe.
Or it's on a paywall on YouTube, but also there's a link to a free movie on
Oh,
YouTube.
I see.
My memory serves me right. So Bad Frank, you co-wrote and starred in it,
Mhm.
and you play the main character Frank. Your wife, who you've mentioned several times already, Amanda Clayton. She's actress. She played your wife partner, your love interest there, didn't she?
Yeah.
Lady you lived with.
Yeah.
Gina. Any chance I can interview her, by the way?
Of course.
Just while we're on that subject.
Hold on. Amanda. Yeah, man, of course.
Not right now.
Nah, she would love to. Thanks for asking, man. I'll let her know.
I haven't interviewed a lady before, so that'd be pretty cool to actually interview a female.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly one as interesting as your wife,
Oh, it's
partner.
my wife, man. Yeah.
My wife. Your
Yeah,
wife,
she's
okay.
she's a hell of a career, man. She's done some films, worked with some big people and some big TV shows. Yeah.
So spot on. So, what was it? Can you just talk a little bit about the backstory of Big Bad Frank? And you co-wrote it as well. You didn't just act in it, did you? Actually co-wrote it. What was the process of that like?
That was an interesting one. Bad Frank's got a special place in my heart because that movie kind of put me on the map. That helped my career to another level because it went in the UK and it did really well in Germany and I think Australia in the Middle East. I got the offer for the role, which was great. I accepted because I just needed work and needed money. I took it, and then the script got presented about a month later, and it was rough. So I asked the director if I could play with the script, and he said yeah. So I kind of did a rewrite, and then I asked him if I could help produce it. He was a first time director, and he said yeah. And we shot Mad Frank in New Jersey too. I was living in Los Angeles at the time. So we came back here. I knew a lot of crew people. I knew some wonderful actors. So I called up Tom Sizemore, who I met a year prior. We had mutual friends. Brian O'Halloran, who was in that movie Clerks. He's a great dude. And then I called Ray Boom Boom Mancini. I knew him. I knew him for about, gosh, 10 years at that point. And
Can I just interrupt just a sec? I just want to do a little biog on Ray Boom
oh,
Boom
go
Mancini
ahead.
because this guy's
Yeah,
got fascinating backstory.
yeah,
So he's an international boxing Hall of Famer. He won the WBA title age 20 or 21 in March 1982. In a historic fight in November of that year, 1982, a few months after winning the title, he fought a South Korean, Duk Koo Kim. Mancini stopped Kim in the 14th round. Kim immediately fell into a coma and died shortly after. Mancini went into a deep depression, and to add to his woes, Kim's mother took her own life 3 months later, and the referee of the contest between Mancini and Kim took his own life 9 months later. As a result of, did you know
oh
this?
yeah.
As a result of Kim's death, the WBC took steps to shorten its title bouts to 12 rounds instead of 15.
Right.
And then WBA, WBO, and the IBF followed suit. He went on to fight Hector Macho Man Camacho, who who the legendary trainer Teddy Atlas has a story or two about, which I've listened to his stories about Macho, which is fascinating. A movie was made about Mancini's life in the mid-80s titled Heart of a Champion, the Ray Mancini story. He has several business interests, owns a cigar company, 2 movie production companies, and he's gone on to feature in a number of films, including Bad Frank, where he plays your father. Yeah. Right? What's this guy like? Great actor as well.
He is salt of the earth, man. A wonderful human being, a pleasure to be around, and you talk to him for like 1 minute and you felt like you know him your whole life. He's just a hell of a guy. He's an absolute hell of a guy. He's a family man. He's got 3 kids, you know. And crazy story how I met Ray, if I'll be brief as possible with it.
No, please.
When I first started acting, I didn't understand the internet, and the internet there was websites posting auditions. So I had an actor friend that hit me up that saw an audition for a movie, and they were looking for someone to play the lead, to play Ray Boom Boom Mancini. So I was a big boxing fan my whole life. So I'm like, wow. And at the time, I was 21, and I was a spitting image for Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Spitting image, doppelganger, right to the tape. So I had my friends come over to my house, go on my mom's computer, because I didn't know how to do it, and they looked up not only where the audition was, but any and every single possible address they could find on Ray Boom Boom Mancini. I auditioned, I put myself on tape. It was this little DV cam. And I wrote a cover letter out to Ray Mancini himself. That's how green I was as an actor. I wrote cover letters out, and I had 10 manila envelopes where I made 10 copies of the tape, because I figured I would send it to him. I would send it to the casting director. I would send it to the producer. Everyone. I was such a fan that, to me, that was like Mike Tyson back in the day. And that was it. Sent it out. And just like anything else, indifference, not even rejection, never heard anything. So I'm working with my dad at the time. I come home. I was living at home. I go upstairs. I had the old answering machine, you know, push the button, record the messages. And I go upstairs to kick off my work boots. I hit the button. And all of a sudden, I hear my answering machine. Hey, Kevin, how's it going, man? This is Ray Mancini. I got a letter here and a tape. I don't know how to play the tape, but it's a really beautiful letter. And, wow, you really look like me. Anyway, this is my number. Thanks for Rain. Apparently what happened was, so one of my friends was on the internet and found his mom's address in Ohio. His mom got the letter with the tape. He lived in Santa Monica, California. I guess it moved her to the point where she called her son and mailed it to him. And he opened it, and that was that. So I screamed. I'm like, Dad, 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 yelling for my father. He runs upstairs. He thought I got hurt. And he was a big boxing fan. I'm like, listen, I played it. He's like, who's that? I said, it's Ray. It's Boom Boom Mancini. What the hell is he doing calling me? I'm a nobody. I was so nervous, you know. I waited like a half hour, went outside, changed a cigarette. I'm like, all right, here we go, right? And I called him. And we talked for about a half hour. And it was a great conversation. Talked a little bit about this, that. And the phone call ended, and he said, listen, if you're ever in Los Angeles, let me know. Come by. I said, okay, great. Click. So a couple days later, I said to my dad, I'm like, Dad, can I have a couple days off? He's like, yeah, why? I said, I'm going to go to LA. I want to go see Boom Boom Mancini. He's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm like, all right. Okay. Had my friend come over, go on the internet, book me a flight. I think I flew once before then. I went to boot camp in South Carolina. I never flew. I never had to book a flight. So anyway, he did it on the internet for me. And before you know it, I booked the hotel, booked the flight, and I'm on the plane. And I'm going to California. I'm like 21 years old. I'm like, this is insane, you know? Like, what am I even doing right now? So I get at the airport. I get out. And I'm like, here we go. And I called him. He was on cell phones, just came out, a little block, and I pulled it in. And it went to his voicemail. I'm like, okay. I waited a little bit, called again, voicemail. And then it hit me, Rob. I never even told him I was coming out. I'm like, did I just fly across the fucking country and didn't tell this guy I was going to be here? Oh my God. And talk about like bowing my head like an idiot. I'm like, I can't be this stupid. I can't. I am. So I got in a cab. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm here for 2 days for what? I went to Hollywood Boulevard, all the stars on the crosswalk and everything. And the first time I was out there, that was shocking. Walking around, I'm like, I was beating myself up like you can imagine. And my phone rings, and it was Ray. And he said, "Where are you?" And I said, I'm in Hollywood." I said, "Are you here?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm down in Santa Monica. Get in a cab and come down." I said, "Okay." I got a cab. I went down. So I met him. He was at a restaurant, and it was odd seeing him because he just looked like me, 20 years older. It was really bizarre, and we looked at each other like, "Holy shit!" Same height, same built, everything. Started talking. He bought me lunch, and he goes, "I got a couple buddies coming. You mind hanging out? You got something to do?" I said, "No." So hanging out, talking, and I hear a familiar voice behind me, which was odd. I didn't have any friends out there. And I turn around and look. You ever see that show, Married with Children?
It sounds familiar.
The actor's name is Ed O'Neill. He was in a really popular show in recent years too, with God, I forget the name of it, but he's a very popular actor in the U.S. And Ed O'Neill was there. I'm like, oh my God, it's Ed O'Neill. Holy shit! And then 5 minutes later, Mickey Rourke rolls up. You know, Mickey Rourke is.
Wow. Yeah, because he was a boxer.
Yeah,
Wasn't he?
so
He was a
they're
good
all
boxer.
friends with Ray, and they're like, "Hey, Kevin." I'm like, "Hey, nice to meet you." Ray's like, "This is my friend Kevin. This is Mickey." I'm like, "Hey, Mickey, how you doing?" Here I am. Yesterday, I was swinging a hammer, on a roof with my dad, and now I'm in Los Angeles with these three icons. Dude, it was mind blowing. They left. Ray said, "What are you doing for dinner? What are you doing the rest of the night?" I said, "Nothing, man." He said, "Come to my house." Went to his house, hung out, ate dinner with his family. He dropped me off at the hotel. He said, "Keep in touch." So I did. We just kept in touch. I kept in touch when I went to Baghdad. He had a cousin that was there at the same time, linked up with him. It was an odd thing. And then I came home, let him know I was home. He'd call me every now and then. And then Bad Frank happened. And I'm like, "We're looking for a dad." So I called him. I said, "Ray, you want to be in a movie with me? You want to be my dad?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." I said, "Okay." And that was it. Boom.
Did he ever speak to you about that fight
Yes.
that night
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
and the aftermath of
So,
it?
ironically enough, the movie I originally auditioned for, I blew past this part. He knew about it. It was actually a Korean production company making the movie in the US,
Wow.
and he did not give his consent. They asked for it, and he said no. He said, "I don't want any part of your movie." He said, "So if you find an actor to play it, so be it." When I got to know him better later on, yeah, he did talk about it a little bit, and it affects him, deeply to the point there's a documentary about it. And Ed O'Neill and Mickey Rourke are in the documentary, and I think it's called The Good Son. Yeah,
The good
check that
son.
out, man. I think it came out about maybe 8 years ago. It's called The Good Son. And Ray actually went back and met, I believe it was Duke Koo Kim's his wife or his sister and his son. Yeah, it's pretty heavy, dude. It's pretty heavy. Heavy documentary. And, Mickey Rourke and Ed O'Neill are getting interviewed on it as well as some other people. It's pretty heavy. It's called The Good Son. Yeah. So that's how I know Boom Boom, man. He came in, he was great, awesome on set. Wouldn't let us fly him first class. Wouldn't let us. He said, "Fly me coach, we're good. Don't save the money." So yeah.
That's rare, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
So was it? Do you think? What was he like to? Were you kind of in awe of him when you were in the movie?
Uh no, once I got to know him, no. But I was always I never took for granted being pretty blessed and fortunate to know someone like that. I mean, he was a I mean, I don't know how big he was in the UK. But I think he was, I mean, what kind of boxer gets on the cover of Time magazine? He was a star, right? Like 22 years old. I mean, he was a star, superstar.
Yeah, he was a little before my time, but I've heard the
Yeah,
name. I've heard of him.
yeah,
I'm sure my dad would have known him because my dad was into it. So yeah, he's a fascinating life
yeah,
story. And
yeah.
do you think he still suffers from that trauma today, or do you think he's kind of learnt to live with it? Or
I think comparably to what I went through and the people I've experienced things with, I think when you go through something extreme like that, there's always a little baggage on your shoulder that you can never really get away with. You just have to find ways to deal with it, you know. But he's progressing in life. He's a commentator for boxing now and stuff, and his son has a clothing line. He helps his son out with that, and yeah, he's just a good dude. He keeps busy. He keeps busy.
Oh, that's a really nice story. You co-starred alongside your wife. Was this the first time you've been in a film with your wife?
No, that was the second or third time. Second or third time, yeah. Yeah. And that was cool. She's a warrior, that lady. I lucked out, man. So that was tough. I know, you saw the film, so there's a couple scenes in there that are pretty racy. And even though we're both actors, it's not easy. You know what I mean? So, she was a trooper about it, and just kind of got to get through that stuff.
Do you enjoy working with her, having her on set?
No. No.
Great.
No.
That's the answer I
Yeah,
wanted.
of course. Of course. It gets stressful at times, But
Yeah.
the past couple of films I did, oddly enough, man, the women, um, especially like the Bastard Son, something happens to that female or another female there, and there is an opportunity to be like, hey man, do you want to jump in this? But after Bad Frank, that was stuff like that kind of takes a toll on you a little bit too, and it's like I don't want to see my wife go through that.
Yeah, it's quite emotional,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Like,
So we just kind of kept her away from that.
can you? No, not going to ask you to do it now. But can you make yourself cry? Because one of the most difficult things for a human to do is to make themselves cry, like kind of false crying. Are you, as an actor, able to do that?
Um, yeah, it's it depends on. Well, yeah. To answer your question, yes, but you have to be in the mindset to be prepared to do that. You know what I mean? For authentic emotion. Um, Having this conversation with you right now, and I think you could attest to this too, man. Since you're having kids, have you become like a lot more emotional at little things?
100. I went on your next film, Malicious. I didn't want to watch the bit in case the kid was harmed. I'm not going to say whether she was or not, but I have to fast forward that stuff. It things like that, which didn't impact me before I had children.
Yeah, same here.
I don't want to see
Yeah.
it. I don't want to be around it. I don't want to. It screws me
Yeah,
up.
it actually makes you like physically sick, thinking about certain things, having a kid now, and yeah, me too. Um, it's sometimes, man, I gotta go there. It's rough, dude. I gotta go there sometimes, and depending on what I was thinking about or what I was talking about, depending on the setting, right now I really don't feel inclined to break down in tears with you. But if this was a Zoom call and it was different, not an interview so to speak, but there was circumstances that lend itself to a situation where I had to get emotional, yeah, I could. It's just a matter of being in that mindset and preparing for it and knowing that it's coming. And some people, I mean, they just emotionally ride right there, all the time. So it's not even so much about the physical hitting the physical note of crying. If you think about the tears, your mind shouldn't be there. Your mind should be in a place of it's a torturing kind of thing, man. Your mind needs to be in a place of, God forbid, a situation that could happen or a situation that did happen. And if you're sitting in that long enough and then you start a scene that has nothing to do with what's going on in your head, but you're in an emotional state, yeah, there's triggers, man, that just kind of happen. You jump in and do it, and then things just kind of happen. Like very rarely does an actor get the opportunity to actually fully believe what's going on in a movie and using that to make themselves be emotional. Usually an actor has something else going on in their head than the actual what you're seeing. So if you were watching me right now do a scene, talking about something horrible that happened to a family member and I broke down and that's the scene, in my mind, I might be thinking about something else or someone else to get me there, and the audience would never know the difference. But I'm making sure that I'm believing in the lines that I'm saying. So it's kind of like fucking with yourself a little bit.
So it's not exactly false crying, is it? Because you're putting your mind into a situation that
That's very
may well.
right. It's very real and personal. So if you find it a
Yeah.
personal place, and whatever emotion comes out of that is authentic, then no, there's no false notes at all. But there are false notes for people that think about the points to hit. And you can tell. You can tell when you see someone cry in an interview. Like I am, what makes me cry? Seeing people cry. And if I see an interview and it's an authentic interview and I see someone getting emotional, I start feeling it. Rarely in a movie do I see it and start getting emotional. You know, rarely, unless that actor is just dime tight and really is drawing it from a real place. And I think as an audience, if you find yourself believing in that as much as you would believe in someone standing in front of you or an interview, that's the goal. That's the crack, man. You know, as an actor, that's it. It's being in those places.
Wow. That's fascinating, man. Malicious. So you co-wrote and starred in that. You played the main character, Jesse. What inspired Malicious?
Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, Harvey Weinstein inspired that story, hands down. So it inspired the story, but it was a passion project. Nobody thought it would pop the way it did. That movie popped over here, man. I don't know how it's doing in the UK, but no, I think it's doing okay in the UK because people are reaching out. But that movie had no marketing. We shot it over COVID. We had barely any money to get it done. We found the most amazing locations, thank God. And we just got an awesome hardcore team of actors and crew together just to come together and be like, let's just do this, you know. And it worked out, man. That movie really went a lot farther than we thought it would.
I have to say, the ending, the twist on the ending is amazing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it definitely got me. I'm not going to say what it is, obviously, because it'd be good if people that are watching can actually go and see it themselves. You want to give away the ending of something, but no, the twist it did get me.
Good.
Something that I want for my own personal benefit, and probably maybe quite a lot of males that are reading that are watching this. You spend your shirt off. You spend quite a lot of time with your shirt off in the two movies that I've just referenced. How do you stay in shape? Come on, tell me. I need to know these things.
I didn't. I put 10 pounds on in 2 days after I shoot like that, man. It sucks. You know, I'm not a ripped person by nature. I'm fairly stocky. But to get to that, yeah, it takes a lot of work, and I don't believe in taking things. A lot of dudes I know, and more power to them, especially actors that you see with their shirts off a lot. Most of them are on HGH and TRT. That seems to be pretty common in my business. I don't know many dudes that are not on it, but I just refuse to do it. I had cancer a few years ago, man, out of nowhere, and just the thought of putting something else into my body, I just can't do it. So I just train hard. The diet's harder, you know, basically just not.
So you go to the gym?
Yeah, I go to the gym, man. I keep my hands up. I still spar. I still box. That's half of my workout. The other half is, dumbbells. I'm not a fitness freak. I just do what I got to do. And I get my physique to where I need it to be, how I picture it. You know, there's a movie I'm doing in Chicago in October, and I'm starring now and directing it as well. And I don't want him to be ripped. It just doesn't make sense for the character. So, most actors will just get ripped up no matter what. But for me, it's about the role, it's about the character and what warrants it. And with Malicious, I was fairly thin, but I also did not want to pack on muscle. I just wanted to stay strong and lean out, because if I showed up on screen looking like Thor, it would have looked so stupid. And I like guys that look like guys and women that look like women, and for me as an actor, I like portraying men. And that means, if I get in good shape, then I'm in good shape and I'm a guy, but I'm not a Marvel character. You know what I mean? So yeah, look. The last thing I'll do is complain about it, man. You know what I mean? Like a lot of actors are like, oh, it was so hard and this and that. It's like, shut up. You know, it's part of the job and you just do it. But I'm not in that shape year round. Hell no, man. That
Oh
steak
no.
in Malicious was real. I didn't eat for about a day and a half before that scene, and I was hungry, brother. I was really, really fucking hungry.
You ate like a
Yeah, I
caveman
feel like
that steak, didn't you?
yeah, I was
Like,
that character got a hold of me, boy, and yeah. Actually, you know what someone pointed out the other day? I didn't realize it. Eating that steak, I was using a knife, and at one point,
mm,
I, I put the knife in my mouth, to clean it off, and then closed it up. And you know, the movie's been out for several months now. My friend pointed out to me that I did that, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "You put the whole knife in your mouth." And I watched it. I'm like, "Holy shit! What an idiot! Like I could have cut the side of my mouth or something." And that was like the second day of shooting, man. That could have been bad news, you know. I wasn't thinking. You just get wound up. You get caught up in it, which is amazing.
so you're so lost in the character and
Yeah,
hungry,
and I was
I
hungry. I
guess.
was hungry, Rob. So
You're
yeah, we
hungry.
bought two steaks, and by the end of the second steak, I couldn't eat anymore. I had a spit bucket, man. After every take, I had to spit it out. I was so stuffed. But here's what's tough about that. So normally when you see someone, for the most part, with their shirt off in a movie, you know when that day is gonna be. So you plan it for it. You know, you lift, 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 diet, 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 and then a lot of dudes do like a 24-hour fast or a 48-hour fast, like no water, all this stuff. And then after the day, you're good. With Malicious, that was like 2 weeks straight with my friggin' shirt off, and it was definitely a chore, but I just kind of channeled it back in the character. It made me feel very erratic. So it's funny what you can pull from and use sometimes too if you're open to it. You know what I mean? So it kind of fed me a little bit too. That fed me even though I couldn't feed.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
So what was let's just cover the Bastard Sons. First movie I believe you ever directed.
Yeah.
You directed, co-wrote, starred in. Your family were in there. Your father and your brother,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I haven't seen it. So, what was which is gutting because that's kind of probably the film I like to have seen the most. But
Yeah.
hopefully, it'll be over at some point, and I'm
It should
sure it
be
will be, and
soon.
I can
Yeah.
see it. But what motivated you to to do this one?
Well, like we talked about earlier, man, the life and lifestyle when I was younger fascinated me. But what what I was not crazy about is how people in that life are depicted. Um, it's very glamorized, very Hollywoodized. It didn't really make sense to me. So when I wrote The Bastard Sons with my partner Glenn Rodriguez, um, that actually started from a screenplay 17 years prior. This young kid who's 18 years old auditioned me to play the lead in his movie called The Nowhere Guys. And I auditioned for it. I booked the role, and then he told me he had no money. And he's a good dude. We stayed
Yeah.
in touch throughout the years. And I moved to LA, he moved out. We did a couple of short films together. COVID hit, didn't know what to do. I was like, I gotta write something. So I called up Glenn. I said, "Where's that script?" And pulled it out and blew the dust off of it. It was a rough script. It was written by an 18-year-old, but there was a concept of five buddies, and there's a woman involved, and they were criminals. They weren't gangsters. So I just did a rewrite of that, but the story was pulled from the Nowhere Guys and became the Bastard Sons, and COVID is what spawned that because I needed to work. So I said, if I'm gonna write this thing, I'm gonna fucking make it. I'm not gonna write it just to like I see a lot of dudes do. They'll write something and then like pat themselves in the back and have a beer and congratulate them. Like that's just like part one of 10 to get a movie made. So I was like, before I even put pen to paper, like I'm gonna make this movie, and we did. The It takes place over 2 days. It's not a long story. It's a very small story, and it's a very intricate look at the lives of these brothers that are essentially bastards who are criminals, and they're all bastard sons raised by the boss, who was my father. In the movie, the boss is dead 4 weeks prior to the movie starting. And without giving anything away, I'm pretty sure I know who did it. I go back home, I tell my brothers, who are all mixed ethnicity as well. You know, it's not just all white Italian guys. And then we go, we try to retake the family and make some money in a crazy high stakes, essentially, attempt that goes a little south. So that's really my take on it. I just wanted to depict them as people, their lives, the little jokes, you know, the relationships. Just because they're bad dudes doesn't mean they got to be, you know, put this act on and be bad all the time. They're people, man, you know.
Was there any inspirations you had for that film, like any real life criminals?
Um, yeah, and there's this one guy I knew growing up, and oddly enough, he's not a big part of the movie, but he's a very substantial part, and he's talked about throughout, and that's played by this amazing actor, Al Sapienza, who was Mikey Palmise in The Sopranos, who I never met,
Wow.
but one of my best friends and co-producers, and he also was in the movie. He played another role in the movie. Was friends with him, and that's how things come together with independent film. It's who you know, right? That's why I don't knock the business when you said that before. Like it's because it's who I know too. You know what I mean, man? So I don't knock who knows who up there or over there because I bring into my world who I know as well. There's trust factors, there's reliability factors, you know what I mean, that come into it. So yeah, we got the group of, we still refer to ourselves as the Bastards to this day. We got the Bastards together. Crew too, the crew was awesome. And we made a banger, and Bastards blew up in the US, man. Yeah.
Of all the movies that you've been involved with, then, what one would you say, or any role you've been in, has been your kind of standout for you, if there is one?
Um, Obviously, I look at it differently because I played the role, you know? Some of my favorite work I've done through the years, or I should say the best experiences I've had, this is why I started making my own films too, were in movies that never got finished. So there's like a piece of my heart in someone's basement that I'm unable to move somebody with my work, and it just it happened enough to make me change my trajectory in this career. That's how deeply it fucking bothered me how many times that happened, and is one of the catalysts of why I started to make my own. Those roles are gone. No one will ever see it. I think the most fun I've ever had, the most connected, was a movie that I did last year called St. Michael of the City. And I co-wrote that. I helped produce that, just get it off the ground. But I had freedom on that role. I knew the director. He just let me go. And I knew the character really well. I understood it. That's a crime movie too. Um, and yeah, that character, I, I cried. I cried when we wrapped on that.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
that's how.
Enjoyed it
Yeah,
so
I
much.
missed him. You know, I just missed it. I missed that freedom, that liberty, that skin. Yeah, I missed him. Yeah, that was that was tough to walk away from. To the point where I can't even watch the movie
Wait,
right now because it just kind of makes me sad. Yeah.
really? So you missed like the camaraderie and the togetherness, or you just missed the whole movie itself,
That
the experience
too,
of
you
it?
know, it's always a good time in a movie because you're like little mini short-lived, super tight families. Kind of like going to war. You know, you're there for a brief period and everyone just gives their all. To be our age and give your all several times a year on something, you build bonds, you know what I mean? And it's just really just this wonderful, cool thing to be privileged to do. But the character of Saint Michael, malicious too, but more Saint Michael, the character I played, I missed the character. I missed that freedom, that side of me coming out. And you know, there's no rules, man, when you're in that. You know, there's no limits. There's no rules. I'm not getting incriminated. It may be a fake gun, but everything behind that gun to me is real. You know what I mean? It may be fake love, but there's something going on inside of me when that moment comes up on screen that's very fucking real. So sometimes when you're emotional in a scene and you finish up and it's a wrap, you did 4 or 5 takes. Yeah, you're crushed. Emotionally, it just takes a toll. You ever get into you ever just get into a fucking wicked argument with someone, like a wicked one? Could be an ex-girlfriend, which most of us can say, oh yeah, there's one ex. And at the end of the argument, you're like, oh, just that come down from it, that oh, or an amazing moment or the come down. So when you act and you come from a real place, there's not one come down. You're doing it. You're doing it 5 to 10 times. So you are fucking absolutely drained. You know what I mean? But it's a fun battle to go through at the same time. It's a fun battle. So to have these experiences over and over and over again, on one day here and one day there, heightened emotional scenes, those emotions, those things stick to you. You remember this one blowout you had with your girlfriend from 30 years ago. And I remember doing this scene in the closet when they told me someone passed away, because I had to do it 10 times and I had to use 4 different people to get me there. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's stuff like that that just kind of sticks with you in a way. I think that makes sense.
It does. Has there been any characters that you've played that you just haven't, or you found it very difficult to click?
Yeah, that happens, man. That happens. TV does that. Doesn't click with me. TV feels weird. Independent film feels like home. TV feels odd. The sets are massive. There's so many people. It's like and you're not really, unless you're a star player on the show. I have not experienced that. My wife has. So she felt that. But unless you're a star player or a series regular, the attention is not there for what you're doing. You're just kind of like, the hamster wheel's going. Okay, Kevin, your time to shoot. All right, you're done later. All right, this one later, you're out. So emotionally, it's hard to tap into. My experience in TV, for the most part, I don't have to dig too deep. TV tends to cast you a lot more closer to who you are as a person, what they see, what you sound like when you get, like, always a perfect fit. She's a perfect fit. Boom. So I have not had characters that I played in television where I really was able to sink my teeth into. More job. And oddly enough, it pays 3 times as much as independent film. So it's like, you do the job. You know what I mean? It helps. You get residuals. You don't get residuals much for movies unless they do well. You know what I mean? And that's it.
Is there anything you've been involved with in your career that you regret?
Porno. No, I'm just kidding, man.
Ah,
That I regret.
that's going in the title.
Yeah, right. Please. No, I don't regret doing any roles. I don't regret. Yeah, I played a couple characters, man, where my co-stars twice didn't talk to me afterwards. So I guess I was a little convincing, but I don't know, man. It's hard to gauge.
When you say, sorry, let me unpick that a little bit. When you say you're convincing, you mean you played the character too well that they got offended?
Yeah,
Wow, that happens.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes you have freedoms and you can improvise, which I've made a career out of improvising. Improvising doesn't mean humor. It just means, possible. If there's ways or angles or little moments of life, little beats to make the scene, that moment, that piece of life better. Sometimes improvising means not talking. You know, it can mean anything away from the script. And yeah, I played a serial killer one time. I guess I freaked this girl out a little bit. Another time, a bad husband, stuff like that. You feel guilty about it, but I mean, I did my job. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing anything wrong. I didn't hit anyone. That wasn't anything like that. But I just brought what I brought, man. Some people can't take it, brother. I don't know what it is. You know, I never got offended from another actor going full with me, you know. So that stuff happens. But I don't regret any roles. I do regret business moves I made. I regret that. I do have regrets. I'm not that type of person that says no regrets, man. Like, well, you got to learn from something. So I have a bunch of I'm never doing that again moments, you know. But in the film business, there's no formula. It's not like work harder, get smarter, and you do better. It doesn't go like that, you know, as an actor. So there was moves I made trying to elevate my position, my place in the business as an actor that I spent a lot of time, effort, energy, money. I was in production companies with people because they were friends, and I stayed a little longer out of loyalty than I should have because I was friends, you know, loyal to a fault. I'm sure you heard that before. That's the world I come from, man. So, you know, guilty as charged. You know, I'm a loyal guy. So there's things like that I regret. But as far as work as an actor, no, I don't.
Excuse me. What advice would you give to somebody who wanted to break into this industry? Let me give you a little story. It's funny enough.
Sure.
Just as you and I were talking, and I was we were setting up this interview. I was at a bar and I was talking to a young girl who was at university doing performing arts, and she wants to go on and be, you know, an actress. And I thought, God, how ironic that I'm, you know, a few days time I'll be talking to you. What is that? Do you think the right route for someone to go into, like, kind of go through the, I guess the average way to go? Maybe I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about here, but
No,
like to go and
know,
to go school and then because she wants to go on like the stage and things like that.
you know, man.
What?
Here's what I know, and I feel honored that people ask me advice, and thanks for asking this question. And I never want to mislead anybody, so I'm very careful with my words when it comes to like what to do. You know, all I could do is speak from my own path and from what I know. And what I know is this: the better acting school you go to, the higher echelon of school or college, the easier road it is for you to get into the business. It's an echelon of people that you graduate with, and it's an alumni that you are now associated with. When you have that, you're not starting down here. You're starting up here, and you get positioned higher in the business. You know what I mean? I went the long route. I went to a very low, small, brand new acting club in New York City when I first started out. Actually, I take that back. When I first started out, I went to a scam agency. I had no idea. My first step into this business, I got ripped off. My very first step, I got ripped off. And, you know, I learned the hard way. But I know that people that go to big schools, they come out swinging, and they have way more opportunities than someone who does not have that. So that on their resume, and you got to be good, matters a lot. If I knew someone in the position of the young woman that you were speaking to about going to school, and it wasn't a big school, my advice to that person would be go to college and get a degree in business and minor in finance. That's what I would say. And then go to acting classes when you're done. Yep.
Wow,
That's
that's a curveball.
because these days you really have to know how to manage your life and your career. You have to have a system because actors float. Actors are, for the most part, um, unstable. The ones you know, the ones you see, the ones you hear about are the victors of that. The victims of instability of the business, the craziness of the business. You know, for every actor you know or you see, I mean, there's like thousands that left. Thousands, man. It's so many. There's 9,000 feature films made a year. Like there's, but you only know about 100. You know, I know there's about 150 of them, maybe 125 that like make it, but you only hear about maybe 15, 20 of them. That's the movie biz. The actor biz, the numbers are far greater. So to sustain and have that, you know, your feet planted, to know what business you're getting into, know that the film industry is an industry, the movie business is a business, understand finances, learn that young, how to save, how to make, how to get a side job, like understanding taxes and all that shit. It's such a life skill that's so integral to being an actor. It's so integral that if someone can get that from a school and not learn the hard way and go broke and not understand business and not be confident, like all these things, I think it's important to work on yourself first before you become an actor. So you don't go this way or go that way and you walk a good path. And then it comes to the time, Rob, where it's like, you can look, I don't knock actors, man, but I do know plenty of actors that studied with the best coaches, teachers, the most expensive workshops and classes I never had the money to go to. And they're not that, you know? And it's like you got it or you don't sometimes. So you can study, and figure things out. And you should take about a year or two to see if you're getting roles or not. And I gotta say, excuse me, my confidence in this business and in life too, because this business is my life, came from, I'm almost embarrassed to say it came from outside influence. Um, if I didn't get people patting me on the back about my work, if I didn't get people I don't know reaching out to me that saw my work, if I didn't get cast in things, leads, or if I didn't get cast, if I didn't have a good booking ratio, I didn't feel strongly enough in myself to go on. I didn't have that inner strength through those years up until my mid 30s. I didn't have it. My my confidence was garnered by outside influences, which is how it's not supposed to be like that, you know. It's just not. Um, but I did take stock of myself, and I started doing things on my own. And after a while, yeah, those you know those strengths that I wish I had when I was younger came into play later in my life. So yeah, when I say like, get a degree in business, get a degree in financing, in that world, man, that's really like a notion of improving yourself and making sure you're totally grounded, that you are a confident and smart person before jumping into the business. Because then you can jump in with both feet with a full understanding of what this is. And then you go on your auditions, and if you get the part, you get the part. If you don't, you don't. And that's it.
And just keep on
Yeah.
going.
Hope that made sense. It was long-winded. Sorry, man. But
No, it did make perfect sense. Thank you. Just before we close off, just a few questions
Yeah.
for you. What's your favourite movie of all time?
Heat.
Wow, that's like back in my day. That one in like 1997, 1998,
95.
something like that, isn't it? Is it 95 even earlier than that? God,
95.
wow. When I was 15. What's so good about that?
It's amazing what a well-crafted movie does to a person, the different elements of it. For me, I get hit, and it's almost like eating like the best meal of your life, right? If you're a steak and mashed potatoes and green beans guy, and it's the best meal you had, each one of those foods has got to hit you. Like this steak is off the charts. This is the best mashed potatoes I ever had. These green beans, I never had these green beans in my fucking life, right? For a movie, it's got to hit the notes. There's something about Michael Mann, the director too, but like Scorsese and all them, they hit the notes. The music is so carefully premeditated and curated. The visuals is so captivating that you don't know why you're watching this, but you're just kind of getting taken away on this like trance. And the music does that too. The actors are incredible. The writing, the dialogue you connect to, all these aspects of it. To me, that is what puts movies on a higher tier. And for me, I can still watch Heat. I'll watch it 2-3 times a year just because it's like this is just something to aspire to as an actor with those greats, obviously. And Sizemore, I worked with him, I knew Tom, so to see him in that movie too and everything else, yeah, Heat's my number one. It just hits all the notes.
What's your favourite gangster movie?
There's a movie called The Bastard Sons. It's available in the United States and it's coming to the UK very soon.
Thank
My
God.
favorite big gangster movie. My favorite gangster movie. Not to be a front runner, man, but it's hard to beat Goodfellas, you know? It's hard to beat Goodfellas. That's my favorite.
Yeah. No, Henry Hill and
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it's a great movie, isn't it? Great
You know,
movie.
in the Bastard,
A lot of
someone
people.
gave me a gift. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, 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 no,
I
no.
put
No,
this
it's fine.
gift in the movie, and it's actually a uh, it's a card from a deck of cards. It's a cane card, and it's signed by Henry Hill, and it's in a clear case, and it's in the background of the Bastard Sons. There's also a picture of Ray Boom Boom Mancini. I had him sign it to my character. His name is Vincent, and it says to Vincent, keep punching. And there's boxing memorabilia in the basement of my character's house. No one has even caught on that. I shouldn't even said anything. No one has even caught on that yet. No one. But they're so little. But they're special to me because I'm so dialed in as
Yeah.
an actor. I really don't know how to direct well. I did it once and thank God it worked. But I just took what I know as I work as an actor and I just put that as a director. And I was dialed into everything, even those small little details there. It just made sense to me. Whether people pick up on it or not, I know it was there, you know.
Why do you choose Goodfellas above like The Godfather and Bronx Tale? What is it about the
All
Goodfellas?
said and done, man, of the points that I just told you that, hit, I mean, Goodfellas is up there. It's a near perfect movie. Um, there's a lot of continuity errors and stuff, but I could care less. No one gives a shit about that. I think there's a bunch of armchair warriors that point stuff like that out, but they have no idea what it takes to make a movie, so whatever. But I am an actor first, and when you got Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta and Paul Sorvino and Joe Pesci and Lorraine Bracco and this one, I mean, it's like going to Disneyland for me watching that movie, man.
Did you watch the Irishman?
I did.
Got some heavyweights in there as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, heavyweights, old heavyweights. That AI stuff or whatever the hell they did, it just didn't work. Did you hear the story about the dude that has a very popular YouTube channel that somehow found the raw footage of that movie and he does deep fakes and he went and he deep faked De Niro and Pesci in that movie and he did it with an AI software program that costs like $200 and it looks 10 times better than what Scorsese did and it cost them like I think like 70 million or something like that.
Wow,
Yeah,
no,
that's
I
why
didn't hear
Netflix
about
like
that.
lost their shit. Like they're like, "What is this?" They caught wind of it. And they're like, "You just cost us $70 million. This guy did it for $200 with this deep fake app." Yeah, it's crazy.
Netflix will be using that
Yeah.
again. I probably would have thought.
Yeah.
It's favorite actor or actress?
What's that?
Favorite actor or
Too
actress?
many to list, man. Too many to list. Um, yeah, too many to list. I like people like, I mean, Denzel Washington, of course, but I like people like that people might not even know. Or might. Barry Pepper, Billy Bob Thornton, Gene Hackman, Robert Duvall, old favorite of mine. Then the list goes on and on, man. But I do know that if Denzel is in something, I'll watch it no matter what, like hands down. So,
Yeah, he's a
that'll
great
probably be
actor.
my number one. Yeah.
Morgan Freeman, I think
Ah,
he's top
there you
notch.
go.
Really
Yeah,
good,
man.
really good.
That's your favorite, more your favorite?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's everything he's that I've seen him
Yeah,
in, and he does a range of different
yeah,
characters.
yeah,
I love his voice. I love Shawshank Redemption is probably my favorite film of all
yeah.
time. I think
Can't
it's
beat
brilliant.
that, man. One of my favorite actors is in the UK, man. I forgot his name. It's Ray Winstone. But for a long time, I've been a huge Ray Winstone fan.
He's got a great backstory, isn't he? He was involved in street fights,
Yeah,
murder of a bouncer, and things like
yeah,
that.
he's an old.
Yeah, he's been. Yeah, he did a movie called Scum,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
it's like a Borstal. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like I don't know if you guys know Borstal, but an approved school for young
Hmm.
tearaways. That's a really good
Yeah.
film. It's kind of his when he was younger, a lot younger, probably his breaking in
Hmm.
film. But no, he's really good. What are you doing at the moment then? What are you up to? Like as in work-wise and
At the moment,
like.
I wrote a movie called Dirty Hands. It's a crime it's a crime action thriller, but I feel weird saying the word action because there's just an incredible amount of violence. And so it's going to be in the action genre, a lot of fighting. It's about two fucked up brothers that work for a low level crime boss. They're supposed to want a routine drop off, pick up, and they blow her, and they're on the run. They hole up in the warehouse one night, and everybody's out to get them. My stories are very simple. I try to keep it very, very simple. And I try to raise the stakes as much as possible within those simple confines and keep it as human as possible where people can connect to it. So Dirty Hands is now greenlit. We got our funding as of last week. And
Oh,
thanks,
congratulations.
man. The gloves are off. So it's been a week getting ready. I get the heebie-jeebies, getting nervous. I'm starring in that one. I'm directing it too and producing it with my partner. And yeah, we're going after an actor that's pretty well known to play the mob boss on this one. So looking forward to that happening very soon. And then I'm casting a few next year, which is cool. Sometimes the money comes in, sometimes they lose the money. I know that game. And hopefully I'll be in the UK, man, shooting with my buddy Tom Sands out there. He's a great filmmaker. And that's what's going on. If that happens, man, I'll give you a shout. We'll get a pint. And I also want to give a shout to Tom LaVecchia, man. Tom is he's a good dude. Tom's one of the reasons why the Bastard Sons blew up in the U.S. He has a marketing company. He's a forward thinker, and he really put his foot on the neck of that phase when it came to marketing Bastard Sons, and he blew it out of the water. So
Really?
yeah, he did a
Wow.
tremendous job. Yeah,
Yeah, he hooked us two up. So yeah, shout out to Tom. Appreciate
yeah,
that.
man.
I've also interviewed him on the channel. Yeah, interesting guy. And yeah, I'd love to meet up with you for a pint and shoot the breeze with you off
Sure,
camera
man. I'll
when
see
you're over
if
to
I'm
the
going out
UK.
there for a movie. I'll see if there's any speaking roles, man, or any parts. I want to jump in. You never know. Dip your feet in the water. You want to be an actor?
I'd love to.
Yeah, that'd
I'd
be
love to.
cool, man.
I don't know. I don't know if the casting directors or whatever would particularly want me in there, but yeah, I'd give it a
You never
shot.
know, man. You never know who's gonna like you, Rob. You never know.
That's true.
You never
That's
know.
true. Where do you see yourself in hard question, but I enjoy asking it. Where do you see yourself in like 5 years, maybe 10 years
Oh, I
time?
can't wait for 5, 10 years. First and foremost, I see my daughter being 15, 14 years old. 10 years. It freaks me out. Sure, it
Oh
freaks
man.
you out too.
Yeah.
Uh, I, s- I just like any other guy and dad, I see myself being a little bit more financially stable. I think that's fair to say, you know what I mean? We all kind of want to get to a certain place. And I do see myself in bigger films. And next year, knock on wood, if a couple come through, they are. It's starting now, and I continue to make film, but I don't ever think I want to be fulfilled, man. I think I'm just gonna still chase moments of fulfillment, but I'm okay with that. As long as I still got the in for me to go after it, I'm gonna. Yeah.
Great. Where can people find you?
I just started a YouTube channel, man. I just started one last month. So you just look up,
Oh
yeah.
really?
So you look up Kevin.Interdonato on YouTube. I'm gonna start posting a lot of clips of my work throughout all the years. Movies that people have seen, haven't seen, stuff like that. Making a vlog. Not often, but my day to day. A lot of people say like, "What do you do all day?" I'm like, I'll show you. Just to kind of get inside of what it's like living like me, an actor, and then I'm also making movies too. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's cool. So the YouTube page is up, and yeah, anybody watching this, I appreciate you taking the time, and I appreciate you having me, Rob. It's been a real pleasure, man. Um,
Yeah, everybody, please subscribe to Kevin's channel. I'll put a link in the description box.
Thanks.
Are you on TikTok? That's a
Well,
great
yeah, but I
platform
don't
for
even
doing
go
what you're
on,
doing.
man. I'm on Instagram. I'll do that too. So it's Instagram and YouTube.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. You've been very generous with your time, Kevin, and it's been an absolute education for me, and I'm hoping even more so for the audience. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
Mate. Thanks
Pleasure
again.
was mine, man. I know your audience, and I really like the show, man. Tom turned me on to you a while back, and you're a hell of an interviewer. So thanks for having me, and I appreciate everyone watching, man. Appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you
Well,
sooner than later, Rob. We'll see how it goes. And we'll have Sunday roast. How's that?
love it. Love Sunday
Um,
roast every Sunday. Great stuff. And maybe you'll come back. I know I appreciate you're a busy man, but we'll do a live in the next few weeks.
yeah, sure.
If you're
Let
not
me
busy.
know, man. It's getting a little busier, but just give me a shout beforehand, whenever, and yeah, that'd be fun.
Spot on. Great
All
stuff.
right.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. And yeah, again, appreciate your time and good luck
I
with everything.
appreciate yours. Thanks, Rob. Have a
Cheers,
good one.
bud. Bye.